scholars, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about some of the manga that I have been reading this year. So this is just going to be a quick little manga wrap up. I'm going to talk about just some of the things that I've read and how I've liked it, the best parts of it, things that I'm like kind of on the fence about, or just things I'm super excited for. So this is just going to be a fun, quick little video where I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I have been reading this year that I have been absolutely loving. And we're gonna start it off, of course, with One Piece because yes, I've been reading One Piece for over a year and a half now at least, and I'm caught up. I'm to the present chapter. The story just doesn't slow down. Like One Piece just doesn't slow down. It is continually really good, and it just continues to blow my mind and draw my expectations and just keep my interest, and I'm always drawn into the characters, to the plot line, to the stories that are telling or that are being told within it, and I love it. And right now we're in like the midst of this huge lore drop that I have been waiting for so long, and I am so excited. I am so stoked about what is being revealed and seeing how that's shaping the entire story and the world as we know it, but also like shaping the arc that they're in and how it's affecting how the arc is going and how it's going to be affecting the characters down the line. It's just all in all so good. One Piece is definitely like it's in my top like 3 manga of all time, and I've just continually been blown away by how amazing this story is. I just absolutely love it. So yes, as always, anytime I do these manga wrap-ups or reading wrap-ups or anything, One Piece always has to be mentioned because I'm always reading One Piece. You can count that I'm always reading One Piece. With that big one out of the way, because that's the most obvious one, because most of my channel is still centered around One Piece, so that's like the obvious big one out of the way. Another one that I've been reading, I picked up in the Clear Moonlit Dust. This was a recommendation that I picked up from one of my friends. She recommended this to me, and I don't know if you can see them up there, but I own the first 7 volumes up there on my shelf. I just didn't grab them. I was too lazy to deal with it, but it's fine. I have the first 7 volumes, and I think there's going to be 8 out soon. I've read the 8th one online. This series has my heart. I love the characters. I love the plot. Our main character, she is such a cool protagonist. She has always been called like this princely figure despite her being a girl, because she always wears her hair short. She feels more comfortable that way, and her stature, the way she holds herself, the way she stands up for the other girls, they kind of named her the prince, and she comes across this other prince who actually sees her from from first glance as a girl and nothing else, and so she's finally getting the princess treatment for the first time, and how she reacts to it, and their little adventures, the way they talk to one another, the way they're figuring out their problems with one another, and the way they learn to communicate with each other and their boundaries and their expectations, their wants, their needs, everything like that. It's just such a breath of fresh air, really, and I really enjoy the communication between them. And the male lead in this one, he's great. If you like Itsuomi from A Sign of Affection, you are going to love him. I have to shout it out again. So the author of this one, I'm going to have to say her name, Mika Yamamori. She's the same author who wrote Daytime Morning Star, if y'all are familiar with that one. And this is another one of the series that she does, and I'm absolutely enthralled by this series and where it's going, and I'm really excited to see how these characters progress, because they're learning more about each other, they're learning more about themselves, and it's just such a fun, almost like a comforting romance, but it's just so nice to see. It's like a breath of fresh air for me reading in the shoujo genre. So the main character, her name is Yui, and the male main character is Ichimura. So if you want to see these two's adventures and their just crazy wild lives together, I would highly recommend going to read In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. Another one that I have continued to read, and I'm still continuing to read, is Bungo Stray Dogs. If y'all have been part of this channel for a long time, y'all know, like, in every wrap-up video I've done, everything I've mentioned, Bungo is always part of it. I love this story, and we finished season 5 last year, and it's been so bizarre because season 5 ended with it completely being caught up to the manga. It was actually ahead of the manga, so we've had to wait for the manga to catch back up to where the anime left off and then continue on from there. And now it keeps getting more insane, but the reveals that have been happening in Bungo, I'm doing my darndest to keep this spoiler free, but just the way Asagiri just keeps pulling out these twists and turns with the information and the drops of like foreshadowing that he has placed in the story, like way back in the beginning, and he continues to draw from it and change things around, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I am so stressed right now in the Bungo manga because of what just happened. Chapter 114.5 had just dropped in May, and that's the one we've been left with. I'm so anxious. It's almost June, so I'm about to get another chapter, but I'm so anxious because where we left off with 114 was just, it was not good. It was not good at all. I think I've read a lot of manga, I've read a lot of books, and I've seen a lot of anime, and I still think Bungo has one of the most interesting and intimidating antagonists and villains ever. And chapter 114.5 just confirmed that for me. I have never been more like fascinated and enraptured by a villain, but also at the same time terrified of him and what he could do. And then it's just, you're left with like, there's, gosh, I'm trying so hard not to spoil anything, but it's like the feeling you're left with is just like, it's a huge gut punch to the emotions, because you're like, there's only one route, there's only one specific way this can go that leads to victory, and that route is so just heartbreaking and sad, and it makes me stress. And Asagiri has seemed to stop pulling punches as much in these recent chapters. The series itself, like Bungo, has gotten really dark recently, especially for anime watchers. Season 4 through 5. For manga readers, it was the Decay of Angels arc, and all of that leading into the airport arc. And now we have this arc following it. I mean, I guess it's still technically a continuation because of where it left off. It's still technically a continuation, but it's like Asagiri has slowly, stopped pulling punches. He's slowly become more firm with how he deals with these characters, what he's doing with the plot. He's had the plot in his hand the entire time. Like, he knows what he's doing with it, and you can see that thread throughout. But now it's like he's finally ready to rip the rug out from underneath all the manga readers, or underneath all of his characters, be like, all right, this is where things get serious, because we've seen characters die before, like have fake out deaths or real deaths that we've seen. We still have a few unconfirmed because of certain situations, but it's like it's starting to just get more and more serious as the series goes on, and I'm really curious, but actually a little frightened to see where Asagiri takes this. But oh my goodness, Bungo, if you haven't read Bungo Stray Dogs, please go read it. It has mystery, it has mind games and chess games like you can't even imagine. It has just, you have the cat and mouse games, you have detective agencies, the mafia's involved, you have all these different organizations, you have a magic system. I mean, you have fascinating characters, brilliant characters that you will get attached to. No matter if they're good or bad, you get attached to them. And it's just such a good story. It is such a good story. Yes, you can watch the anime, but I highly recommend you read the manga. I highly recommend you read the manga, especially now that the manga is finally ahead again of where it left off. Please go read this manga. It is fantastic. The next manga I'm going to talk about before I just completely derail off of Bungo, because Bungo is, again, like One Piece. It's one of my top mangas of all time. I absolutely love it. But another one I've been reading is Dr. Stone. Oh my goodness, this manga has been just so much fun. It's honestly just been so much fun to see Senku on all of his adventures and how he deals with the science of everything in a primitive world, and then finding a civilization and finding people to go about with him to try to work to bring the civilization back to life. I absolutely love it. It's been so much fun. I almost spoiled something, but I'm at a point in the manga where a character is appearing to deceive someone, but they're not, and Senku is getting ready for this big battle to essentially protect someone's sister and kind of help get things back on track to what he needs. And it's so funny. Senku is such a fun character to me because he always pretends like he doesn't care about people, he doesn't care about emotions or attachments to others, but he keeps proving himself otherwise. Like, he keeps proving otherwise when he's with people and how he actually does care. He just pretends not to because he doesn't want to. He's such a fascinating character to me. I love Senku, but one of my favorites in this series has got to be Gin. There's something about Gin in series that I just seem to love their characters. That's just me. Dr. Stone, I've had such a fun time with, and where I'm at now, I had to take a short break from it because of like school and finals and just other things going on that I had to take care of. I had to take a small break from it, so I'm a little behind in where I wanted to be in reading Dr. Stone, but I'm so looking forward to diving back in because we're at a pretty pivotal point in like this first arc of the story, this first part of the story, and I'm really excited to see what Senku's plan is, that he's entrusting things to someone and that he's planning to do something somewhere. So I'm so curious to see where it goes, and I've just had a blast with it just because also it teaches me more about science that I forgot all about when I was in school, so it's kind of nice to have that refresher and be like, oh yeah, that stuff does exist. It's nice, and I'm learning things I didn't know, so it's just been such a fun series for me. It's been great. I love that Dr. Stone ended up winning one of the polls that I did and that I've been reading it because I've enjoyed pretty much every single minute of it. Now, one of the last mangas I'm going to talk about is, of course, Spy Family. Oh my gosh. I love this manga. I love it. It's so fun. It's so quirky. I love the family dynamic. I love the friendships being made. I love all the secrecy or the pretend secrecy and then the ridiculous excuses that get made up when, like, oh, well, how are you able to do this? Oh, well, you know, I just happened to do this when I was younger for my brother. Like when Yora makes her excuses, or Lloyd will make his excuses, and Anya's over here being like, y'all are both liars, I know why. It's such a fun dynamic. I love this manga so much. It seems very lighthearted on the surface, but boy, does it start to delve into some serious topics on war and some other things, especially like child experimentation with Anya and a few other aspects that just aren't very pleasant. But the way Spy Family handles it is very interesting because it is able to take these darker concepts and put them into a story where you can still tell that they are darker concepts and they're not ignored, but it fits really well with that light-hearted family dynamic and the relationships of the characters, that it evens out really well, and you can still feel like you can breathe. It's not overwhelmingly dark. Like some stories I've read where it talks of war, the effects of war, and how how war takes a toll on different people and the way it takes a toll on them in different ways. It can be very heavy and sometimes almost too heavy to where you're constantly having to stop to breathe and be like, oh my goodness, okay, like I need a break from that. Spy Family does it in a way that it keeps the comedy at the central point to make sure that it never gets too heavy so that you don't have to do that. It doesn't shy away from them, but it doesn't focus on them too much to where that's all you see in the story. Spy Family does this really well. It does it really well, and I love the balancing act that it does because of all things, Spy Family is a very character-driven story, and that is something I absolutely love about it. I love character-driven stories. Yes, I love a good plot, like other stories I read, One Piece, Bungo. Like, I love a good plot. Don't get me wrong. Love a good plot. I love to see the different aspects of storytelling and how deep and intricate a world can go. But I also enjoy a story that's not afraid to pull back on the plot to focus on the characters and let the characters breathe and live freely in that world. It's beautiful. I love Lloyd. He's fantastic. He's a great protagonist. I love him to death. Yor is great. Anya's great. And I will say I love all of the characters in this series. I truly, truly do. But the dynamic that Damien has with Anya is by far my favorite. It's so funny to me. It is so funny that this spoiled rich kid ends up falling head over heels for a girl who punched him. And he hates it, but he can't do anything about it. But then as the story progresses, he slowly starts like softening around her, and she thinks they're making progress, so she's like, yes, I can carry out Dad's plan. And then she'll do something or say something, and then he like gives her a cold shoulder, and she's like, world peace is doomed. I don't know what happened. It's so funny. Their dynamic is hilarious, and it just really lightens the story up for me. It's a highlight of the story for me. Same with Becky and Anya's friendship. I love their friendship so much. Always a delight to see those two on screen, and Becky is a hoot. Becky is wild, but I love her so much. She's a great character. But if I had to say, like, the best part is the exploration of different sorts of relationships, whether it be friendships, familial relationships, good and bad, because we have the Forger family who, they're not a real family, none of them, but they appear more as a family and they act more like a close-knit blood family than the Desmonds do, because Damien's dad could not care less about him. He does not care for his son. And that greatly affects Damien and his personality and the way he approaches life. So that, you have these two opposing family dynamics of a blood-related family who is so estranged from one another to a found family who is so close and loving to one another. And I love the differences in relationships that Spy Family brings about. It's been really great. We get, the sibling relationships, which hit or miss on that. We get, the familial relationships, found family. We get friendships. We get even work relationships coming into play here. And it's all just so fascinating to me, and I love it. That's one of my favorite parts about Spy Family, is just the relationship aspect of it all. It's wonderful. Really, really wonderful. That's most of the manga I'm reading. I've read a few manhwas recently that I found entertaining, but if you want to know any of them, let me know and I can tell you which ones I'm reading, but I won't spend a lot of time talking about them. I've just found a few good ones that I've enjoyed reading. I'm watching some of the seasonal anime. I know My Hero has come back. I've been watching that. Demon Slayer is back. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I reread the Hashira training arc and the manga to prepare myself because I'm so ready for the end of this arc. I know where they're gonna leave this arc. And I'm so ready to see all the anime only's reactions to it because they're not ready. Everybody's been saying, oh well, this arc is the calm before the storm. They are correct. They are so correct. But I have liked the additions that Demon Slayer has made in the anime, how they've added a few things, and they've done really well on that. It hasn't drawn it out too much, but I hope they don't continue to try to draw it out too much to stretch the arc longer than it needs to be. I like the additions. I like what they're doing with the characters and having it be more character focused right now. I do like that as a word, I guess, on the side of caution. I hope they don't go overboard with it, but that's just me. But I'm also watching Windbreaker. I think Windbreaker is one of my favorites this season and this year. I mean, there's only like 8 episodes out. Togame Joe has my heart. Has my heart. Precious baby. Oh my gosh. I love that. Suo and Togame are my favorite characters so far in Windbreaker. It's just so good because you get the awesome action sequences, you get the incredible pacing of the story, but you also get these amazing characters and character moments that just brightens up the entire anime. And I love that you can tell that they're putting so much care into it and that they love the story that they're animating and that they're telling, and it just makes it so much more fun and enjoyable to watch. I love it. I love it so much. I'm enjoying Windbreaker so much. Sakura is a great main character. I love him. He's a little baby. He's a precious little baby that must be protected. Same with like half of them. Like, and in their own way, they're all like little babies that need to be protected. But it's a fantastic anime, and I love these characters. Absolutely love the characters. That's pretty much all for this wrap up. I've been reading so many good stories. I'm getting excited over some stories. I'm just happy reading other stories. I'm suffering and in terror with others. Bungo, I'm looking at you. Asagiri, when I catch you. But overall, it's just been so much fun, and I'm excited to read more manga. I have so many on my list. I have a lot of recommendations that have been given to me by some of my friends that I am ready to start reading, and others that I've just found that have caught my eye that I want to start reading on my own. It's gonna be fun. I'm really excited to start reading even more manga than I am already. But yeah, let me know some of the stories that y'all are reading or watching down below. What are some of your favorites that you've been recently engaged with? I'd love to know down below. I'm always looking for a good story. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. If you have not seen my One Piece review from Tuesday, be sure to go watch that. Next week we'll be doing another One Piece chapter, which I'm so ready for. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time, scholars. Bye!